The cold metal of handcuffs clicked shut around General Victor Caney's wrists with a finality that silenced the entire restaurant. Lieutenant Maya Chen stood tall, unflinching as 50 pairs of eyes turned toward her, including those of the four-star general whose career she had just effectively ended. General Victor Caney, you're under arrest for conspiracy, treason, and the illegal transfer of classified weapons systems, she announced, her voice steady, despite the tremor threatening her knees. 10 years in military police had hardened her, but nothing had prepared her for arresting the most decorated general in the armed forces. Caney's steel-gray eyes narrowed, his weathered face a mask of contained fury. "Lieutenant," he said, voice dangerously soft, "you have exactly 10 seconds to remove these cuffs and walk away before you destroy your life." The restaurant patrons, mostly high-ranking military officers and defense contractors, stared in disbelief. Maya caught whispers. "She's finished. Career suicide? Does she know who he is?" She knew exactly who he was. General Victor Caney. War hero, Pentagon darling, the man who had restructured the entire military's special operations divisions, the man whose signature appeared on her commission papers, and, if her evidence was correct, the man who had sold classified weapons systems to a foreign government. "With all due respect, sir, I'm following orders." Maya gestured to her partner, Sergeant Omar Jackson, who stood by the door. "Please come with us." "Whose orders?" Caney's voice was calm, calculated, the voice of a man accustomed to battlefield. "Decisions under fire." "JAG course, sir. The investigation has been ongoing for 6 months." As she led the general out, the maitre d' approached nervously. "Lieutenant, the general was hosting the Joint Chiefs tonight. They're due any minute." Maya's stomach dropped. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranking military officers in the country. She hadn't known. This was supposed to be a quiet arrest before the news broke tomorrow. Outside, a convoy of black SUVs pulled up, and Maya recognized the flag signaling the arrival of the very people she'd hoped to avoid. She quickened her pace toward the unmarked police car where Jackson waited. "Lieutenant." The sharp command froze her in place. General Westfield, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, approached with his security detail. "Release General Caney immediately." "Sir, I have orders. I don't give a damn about your orders. I'm countermanding them." Maya stood her ground. "With respect, sir, I can't do that. The evidence is substantial." Caney surprisingly chuckled. "Marcus, it's all right. Let the lieutenant do her job. This misunderstanding will be cleared up shortly." He turned to Maya. "You've got guts, Lieutenant, but guts won't save you when this is over." As they drove away, Jackson finally spoke. "Chen, we just arrested a man with friends in every corner of government. Are you sure about this?" Maya gripped the steering wheel tighter, replaying the evidence in her mind. The encrypted communications, the offshore accounts, the weapons that had appeared in conflict zones when they shouldn't have existed at all. The evidence doesn't lie, Jackson. Her phone rang, Colonel Harriman, her commanding officer. "Chen, what the hell have you done? The Secretary of Defense is on my other line." "Following the evidence, sir. Get back to base immediately. And Chen, pray you're right about this, because if you're wrong..." He didn't need to finish the sentence. As they approached the military police headquarters, Maya noticed the unusual number of vehicles in the parking lot. High-ranking officers, government sedans. She had expected blowback, but not this fast. Jackson looked nervously at the general in the back seat. Caney sat peacefully, almost amused. "Lieutenant Chen," the general said as they parked, "do you know the difference between bravery and stupidity? One has the power to change the world, the other..." He smiled coldly. "Well, the other ends careers." Maya met his gaze in the rearview mirror. "And which one is arresting you, sir?" "That," said General Caney, "is what we're about to find out." 24 hours after arresting General Caney, Lieutenant Maya Chen sat across from 3 stern-faced JAG officers in a windowless interrogation room, except she was the one being interrogated. "Explain again how you came to possess this evidence," demanded Colonel Westbrook, sliding satellite photos across the table. Maya had repeated her story 4 times already. "As I stated, sir, The initial tip came through an encrypted channel from a source inside the Defense Intelligence Agency. A source who conveniently cannot be identified, Major Pearson added with obvious skepticism. For their protection, yes. The third officer, Captain Rodriguez, leaned forward. Lieutenant, do you understand that General Caney oversees operations that you don't have clearance to know about? That what appears to be illegal weapons transfers might be authorized covert operations? Maya had anticipated this defense. With respect, I verified the transfers against authorized operations. These weapons weren't going to allies or assets. They were going to the highest bidder. Colonel Westbrook closed the file. You're relieved of duty pending investigation. Surrender your sidearm and credentials. Outside, Sergeant Jackson waited, his usually relaxed demeanor replaced with tension. They're transferring Caney to house arrest, he whispered as they walked through headquarters. Too many powerful friends. Of course, Maya muttered. The evidence. Secured in the system, but... Jackson hesitated. Word is, the Secretary of Defense wants this buried. They can't just make this disappear. There are procedures. Chen, wake up. This is bigger than procedures. Every news outlet is painting you as a reckless officer with a vendetta. Caney's giving interviews about how this is a politically motivated witch hunt. Back in her apartment that night, Maya stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Her phone had been ringing nonstop. Journalists, old colleagues suddenly distancing themselves, and her mother, confused by news reports calling her daughter a traitor. A knock at the door startled her. Through the peephole, she saw a woman in a dark suit. Lieutenant Chen? Anna Marshall, Department of Justice. She flashed credentials. We need to talk. Maya let her in, checking the hallway before closing the door. Dujay? I thought the military was handling this. That's what they want everyone to think. Marshall placed a small device on the coffee table that emitted a soft hum, an anti-surveillance measure. There's a faction within DOJ that believes your allegations against Caney. We've been building our own case. Then why was I hung out to dry today? Politics. Caney has allies everywhere. Intelligence community, Pentagon, Congress. We needed someone to make the first move officially. Marshall's expression was apologetic. You were the perfect catalyst. Dedicated by the book, unbribable. You used me, Maya realized, anger flaring. We're protecting you. That suspension, it keeps you alive. If you were still active, you'd have an accident within the week. Marshall handed her a secure phone. Keep this on you. When we need you to testify, we'll contact you. Until then, lay low. Trust no one in uniform. After Marshall left, Maya paced her apartment, mind racing. Everything she'd worked for, her career, reputation, the trust of her colleagues, sacrificed as a pawn in a larger game. But if Caney truly was selling advanced weapon systems that could destabilize entire regions, wasn't that worth it? Her regular phone rang, a blocked number. Lieutenant Chen. The voice was unmistakable. General Kane. Maya's blood ran cold. How did you get this number? Really? That's your question? He sounded amused. Not wondering how I'm calling despite being under house arrest with monitored communications? She remained silent, recording the call. I'm going to offer you something. Lieutenant, a way out. Recant your allegations. Claim you misinterpreted the evidence. Say you were overzealous in pursuing what you thought was corruption. And why would I do that? Because tomorrow investigators will find offshore accounts in your name with unexplained deposits. Because your signature will appear on authorization, forms for classified document access you never requested. Because your mother's nursing home care might suddenly become very complicated. The threat hung in the air between them. You're threatening a federal officer, Maya said, working to keep her voice steady. That's another charge to add to your list. Caney sighed. This isn't a threat, Lieutenant. It's a reality check. You're not the first person to come after me. Ask yourself what happened to the others. The line went dead. Maya's hands trembled as she set down the phone. What had she stumbled into? And how deep did Kane's influence actually go? 3 days after her suspension, Maya woke to the news that the Justice Department official who had visited her, Anna Marshall, had been killed in a car accident. The official report called it a brake failure. Maya knew better. She packed a small bag and left her apartment through the fire escape, avoiding the unmarked sedan that had been parked across the street since yesterday. Her military training kicked in. No credit cards, no phone, cash only. She caught a series of buses to a storage facility where she kept an emergency kit, burner phones, cash, and a laptop that had never been connected to her name. At a dingy motel paid for with cash, Maya connected to public Wi-Fi through multiple proxies and searched for information on previous investigations into General Caney. Nothing official appeared, but on forums frequented by military personnel she found whispers, an Army CID investigator who resigned suddenly 3 years ago, a Pentagon auditor who had a mental breakdown, a defense contractor who died in a home invasion. Her burner phone rang. Only Sergeant Jackson had the number. "They're setting you up," he said without preamble. "Forensics found your fingerprints on classified documents that went missing last month. They're coming for you with an arrest warrant." "That's impossible. I've never touched—" "I know. Listen, I'm being watched too. But there's someone you need to meet. The CID investigator who looked into Caney before you. James Reeves. He's alive, and he wants to talk." Jackson gave her an address in Baltimore before hanging up. 6 hours later, Maya sat in a booth at the back of a 24-hour diner, nursing a coffee as she watched the door. A man entered, mid-50s, military-bearing despite civilian clothes, eyes constantly scanning the room. He ordered coffee, then slid into her booth. "Lieutenant Chen, you're shorter than your file suggested." "Mr. Reeves, you're more alive than rumors suggested." He almost smiled. "Faking my death wasn't my first choice, but it kept me breathing. Caney has operatives everywhere. People who owe him, people he's blackmailing, true believers." "What did you find on him?" "Not what, who. Caney isn't working alone. He's the American face of an international weapons cartel run by former intelligence officers from 5 countries. They identify vulnerabilities in weapon systems, steal the tech, and sell it to regimes that would never get approved for official sales. That's why conventional tracking misses it," Maya realized. "These aren't complete weapons, they're components that can be assembled elsewhere." Reeves nodded. "The real question is who's protecting him. Someone high up is running interference. Every time we get close, investigations get redirected. How do we fight this? We need concrete evidence that can't be buried or explained away. And we need it public enough that silencing us becomes too conspicuous." They spent hours developing a plan. Reeves had compiled evidence from his original investigation but needed more recent connections. Maya's case had newer leads but lacked historical context. Together, they might have enough to expose not just Caney but the entire operation. As Maya left the diner, Reeves grabbed her arm. "Trust your instincts, Lieutenant. They've gotten you this far, but be careful who you trust beyond that." 3 days of cautious movement followed. Maya contacted former sources, carefully collected data points, and built a comprehensive picture of Caney's operation. She learned that a major shipment of components was scheduled for transfer that weekend, the perfect opportunity to catch them in action. On the 4th night, returning to her latest motel room, Maya sensed something wrong. Immediately, the door was unlocked. She drew the handgun she'd acquired through Reeves's connections and entered silently. Sergeant Jackson sat on the bed, hands raised. "It's just me. How did you find me?" "I'm good at my job." He stood slowly. "Chen, they're saying you've gone rogue, that you're working with foreign agents. There's a shoot-on-sight order. And you came to warn me?" "I came because I found something." He pulled out a thumb drive. "Financial records linking Caney to shell companies that move millions through tax havens. But I also found something else. Communications between Caney and Colonel Harriman." Maya froze. "Our commanding officer?" "He's been running interference, burying evidence. That's how Caney always stayed ahead of investigations." As the implications sank in, Maya heard a faint click from outside. The sound of a weapon being readied. "Down!" she shouted. tackling Jackson as the window shattered and bullets tore through the room. Blood seeped through Sergeant Jackson's shirt where a bullet had grazed his shoulder. Maya dragged him behind the bed as more shots splintered the cheap motel furniture. "Go," Jackson grunted, pressing the thumb drive into her hand. "I'll create a diversion. Not without you." "This was never about taking Caney down legally, was it?" he asked, grimacing through pain. "They've rigged the system. The evidence has to go public." Before she could argue, Jackson stood suddenly and emptied his clip toward the window. "Now, Chen, bathroom window." Maya hesitated only a moment before crawling toward the bathroom as Jackson provided covering fire. She squeezed through the small window, landing hard in the alley behind the motel. Gunshots continued inside. Then silence. Tears stinging her. Eyes Maya ran, the thumb drive clutched in her fist, Jackson's sacrifice heavy on her conscience. Dawn found her at a public library, using a computer terminal to access the contents of the drive. What she found exceeded her worst expectations. Not just weapons sales, but evidence of Caney's network blackmailing officials, laundering money through military contracts, and orchestrating accidents for whistleblowers. Most damning were recorded conversations between Caney and high-ranking Pentagon officials, including Colonel Harriman, discussing how to handle Maya's investigation. She copied the files to multiple secure locations, then crafted messages to every major news outlet, Congressional Oversight Committee, and law enforcement agency not implicated in the documents. She hit send, knowing there was no going back. Then she made one more call, to James Reeves. "It's done," she told him. "The evidence is public, but they killed Jackson." "I'm sorry," Reeves said quietly. "Where are you now?" "Doesn't matter. I need to disappear." "No, you need to be seen. They can't touch you if you're in the spotlight." "Meet me at the Pentagon in 2 hours, trust me." It was a risk, but Maya had run out of alternatives. She made her way to Washington, D.C., watching as her revelations exploded across news channels. Military police were escorting officers from the Pentagon in handcuffs. Colonel Harriman's face appeared on screens as reporters detailed corruption charges. At the Pentagon's main entrance, surrounded by media vans and reporters, Maya spotted Reeves talking with a woman in civilian clothes but with unmistakable military bearing. As Maya approached, the woman turned, General Diana Reeves, Inspector General of the Army, and apparently James Reeves' sister. "Lieutenant Chen," General Reeves extended her hand. "Your evidence has opened the biggest military corruption investigation in decades. Half the chain of command is being questioned." And General Caney barricaded himself in his home when the news broke. "FBI tactical teams are standing by, but he's demanding to speak with you first." "Me? Why?" James Reeves smiled grimly. "Because you're the only one who truly knows the extent of what he's done." 3 hours later, Maya stood outside Caney's Virginia estate surrounded by FBI agents. Body armor weighed heavy on her shoulders as she approached the intercom. "Lieutenant Chen reporting as requested, sir." The gate clicked open. Inside, Caney sat in his study, still in uniform despite everything, medals gleaming on his chest. No weapon was visible, but Maya remained alert. "Lieutenant," he greeted her with eerie calm. "I underestimated you. You threatened my mother. Business, not personal." He gestured to a chair. "Do you know why I wanted to see you? To explain yourself? To threaten me again? It doesn't matter, it's over." "Over?" Caney laughed. "You've caught me, yes, and some of my associates, but the system that allowed this to happen, the blind spots, the unquestioning obedience, the protection of rank, that remains intact. Systems can be changed. By people like you?" His eyes studied her. "Perhaps. That's why I wanted to see you before they take me away. I wanted to look into the eyes of the woman who had the courage to do what dozens before her couldn't, to see if you understand what you've really done." Maya met his gaze unflinchingly. "I did my job." "No, Lieutenant. Jobs are safe. Following orders is safe. What you did was choose integrity over career, truth over security." He stood, offering his wrists as if for handcuffs. "You've started something that can't be contained now. They'll come for you, not with bullets, but with offers, promotions, positions that look like rewards but are designed to silence you. Is that a warning or a threat? Consider it respect from one soldier to another. You fought well. He straightened his uniform. I'm ready. As FBI agents led Caney away, Maya stepped into the sunlight where cameras flashed and reporters called her name. General Reeves approached with an aide carrying a box. These were Sergeant Jackson's personal effects, the general said quietly. He survived, Lieutenant. He's in protective custody at Walter Reed. Relief flooded through Maya as she accepted the box. Inside was Jackson's badge and a handwritten note. Worth it. 3 months later, Maya testified before Congress, detailing how a decorated general had exploited the military's trust. The hearings led to sweeping reforms in oversight and weapons tracking. Caney and 27 co-conspirators faced charges ranging from treason to murder. The weapons cartel was dismantled across 3 continents. On the last day of hearings, Maya encountered General Diana Reeves in a quiet hallway of the Capitol. The Army needs officers like you, Lieutenant. People willing to stand against corruption, no matter the cost. With respect, General, I'm not sure the Army agrees with you. The Army is changing. Reeves handed her an envelope. Your reinstatement papers with promotion to captain. The JAG Corps could use someone with your integrity. Maya fingered the envelope thoughtfully. And if I find more generals breaking the law? General Reeves smiled. Then arrest them too, Captain Chen. That's an order. Standing at attention, Maya Chen, now captain, saluted crisply. Yes, ma'am. As she walked away, Maya reflected on Caney's warning about offers designed to silence her. But this wasn't silence. This was a platform, a chance to rebuild the system from within. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jackson, now recovered and working with the FBI's Military Liaison Division. Ready for round 2? Maya smiled. General, Caney had been right about one thing. She had started something that couldn't be contained. But he had fatally misjudged what would happen when someone with unwavering principles discovered just who she was messing with. She texted back a single word, always.